Frank, many congratulations. How does this feel?
Feels great. Feels great. It's a fantastic opportunity for me. You know, this club, well aware of the tradition, walk the hallways and it's coming off the walls. So I knew that already here, and I knew the size of the club, I knew the fan base. So the opportunity for me in my first job as a manager was just a great one. And on top of that, having conversations with Mel on the board here, and a very open conversation of where we want to go, it matches. Can't wait to get started.
Why did you want to be a manager? You've seen the stick that managers get. You've seen that a lot of them have very short lifespans as well. But you wanted to put your head above the parapet.
Well, I was a player and I took some stick for 20 years, so it's part of the territory. But you can't take away the love that we have for wanting to succeed. And, you know, I've had now 18 months away from playing, which has been great for me. It's been a different lifestyle. I've worked on my coaching qualifications a lot. I've been on holidays at different times, which I couldn't do for 20 years. And I worked in the media, but I still had that desire, you know, the desire to come and manage and be at the cutthroat end, which has been in the blood since I can remember. I missed that. So I've worked hard and now I feel in a position to come back, and I understand that it's not always plain sailing. That comes with the territory. I'm not afraid of that. I just want to make a success of it.
Can you give us an idea of what type of manager you're going to be? Have you given it any thought? Is it something you can control, or is it something that's proven out?
Yeah, I've certainly thought about it a lot, and I probably thought about it through my career because I had the pleasure of so many great managers. So as you get older and into my 30s, I try to take everything on board of all of them and try and incorporate into that and be my own person. I'm not a clone of any manager, any one manager I had. I saw what I thought was the good or what I thought was the bad of them, and I'll make, you know, my own judgments. And I'll be open. You know, I'm a young manager, freshly retired. I feel like I know the dressing room. I feel like, and hope I know the needs of the dressing room, and I will open that relationship up very quickly with all the players. It's a very blank canvas for me in terms of the relationship I'll form with them to try and improve individuals and try and improve the club. You know, there's a lot of work to be done. I'm a hard worker, and I'll bring that here.
Tracksuit or suit on the touchline?
This really matters to everybody, this, doesn't it? It's just, we'll suit, but, you know, yeah, suit. I mean, I'd like to be smart. I think I like, you know, it's just my style. But win games, tracksuit or suit, but probably suit.
Is there any chance that you might name yourself as a player?
No.
Is that absolutely gone?
Yeah.
Can you reconsider?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I knew the time was right to finish, you know, and that's 18 months ago, so that's a long time. I've hardly kicked a ball since, so I'd need a good strong pre-season, that's for sure. But no, it's not. The focus is all on managing this club, and I think that's the way it has to be in the modern day. It's too big a job. You know, everything needs to be thrown into, from my point of view, in putting out a team, getting together a squad that can be successful.
You say football's in the blood, coaching's in the family as well, obviously, with you know, your dad, Frank Lampard Senior, and your uncle Harry Redknapp.
Yeah.
What advice have they given you? Do they think you're mad?
No, the opposite. Maybe they're mad. I don't know. It's the opposite. No, my dad was very, very behind it, and Harry the same. And Harry obviously knows the club very well, so it was very important for me to have those conversations. But I knew my own mind, really. I was looking for a backup and a confirmation in a way. It's not just those two, it's my family in general, because this has to be right for me on and off the pitch. And it was a resounding yes, firstly from me, because I see what the opportunity is here and it feels right.
Will you talk to them? I mean, will they be on the end of a phone line?
Well, my dad will be ringing me after every game, don't worry about that. He did it for 20 years as a player, so he's not going to stop now. But listen, I'm fortunate that I have that around me. I was fortunate in my career to have that advice, that knowledge, and, you know, you take what you want, or, you know, but I always listen. So, you know, I'll listen to my dad when he's driving home, and I'll listen to Harry, and I think all the contacts or the, you know, the friends in football that I have over the years, there's nothing wrong with listening, but in the end I'll make the decisions.
Different players have come into management at different levels in the football pyramid. You've chosen the Championship. Was that deliberate on your part? Is this the level you thought was best for you?
No, it wasn't. It can't be deliberate, because, you know, it's. I mentioned being flattered a lot today to have this club of the size of Derby County wanting me to be their manager. I didn't know what the situation was. All I could do was finish, play and work hard at my qualifications, and then, you know, here I am. So it didn't matter to me. I've spoken about it before, and people are so interested in where you might go in. Everybody starts somewhere. This opportunity came up to me. It felt completely right. The proof will be in results, as it always will be, not just to the board, to the fans and to everybody who's looking on. So I have to get to work to produce those results.
What about the Championship? How much do you know about it? I mean, obviously your country work's been Premier League, Champions League. You played in America last. I wonder whether you feel you're a bit rusty. You've got to catch up with this.
I watch it a lot. Don't worry, I watch it. The Championship is one of the most entertaining leagues, most toughest leagues to get out of, most competitive leagues. I watched it week in, week out. I watched both playoff games between Derby and Fulham. I've watched numerous Derby games from last season just by enjoying football. So listen, I don't think there's a great difference. The rules of football remain the same for me, and the first rule is hard work and being competitive. And if you give that as a player, if you give that to the fans to watch, you have a great chance of success, because I know that this club already has quality there and a quality squad, and things will evolve and things will change, and I'll put my mark on this team. But the basic thing I'll demand is that work rate and desire, because in the Championship, as much as any league, that's crucial for me.
How much have you talked about the budget? Did you have to be clear on what your wage bill would be and how competitive you could be before you took the job?
Well, we were open, which I think is the important part, and I don't think it's the figures. We're not here to discuss figures. We're here to say, how can we make this squad better? And the decisions to be made, whether it's in or out, or with the team, or with the formation, or wherever it is, those will be my decisions on the training ground, and there'll be open conversations off the pitch. But I'm here to succeed and be competitive. So, you know, that's something that I've had in my career, fortunately, for being in very strong teams a lot. At the start of the season, our aim was always to be the best we can be. And normally that was winning titles. Here, we'll aim higher. We'll try and give that. We're realistic at the same time. But from the first day of pre-season, my aim, when I talk to the squad, is that we want to be successful, and that means promotion.
It seems a good time to bring in the owner, Mel Morris, the man who gave you the job. Mel, we talked about budgets there. You've put an awful lot of money into this football club already.
Sure.
Is now a time where you've got to rein it in because of financial fair play? Is it going to be tougher this year? Have you got to sell some players?
It's impossible to spend at the level we have year after year after year. FFP is very real. We take it very seriously. We've even been a big advocate of FFP. So, you know, it's time to bring our house in order in that regard. But as Frank said, it's also a time to try and look at doing that whilst also seeing if we can progress at the same time. And I think that's really why, you know, Frank also to me is a standout candidate in terms of being able to manage that blend, you know, inspire the players that we have, but also actually try and freshen it up as well.
Glittering career, the man alongside you. He's a very famous man. It's a big coup in that regard, but is it a gamble as well?
No, every managerial appointment is a gamble. You know, if it was a slam dunk, you know, there'd be a list of people who say, I can guarantee a promotion, it'll be easy. All sorts of things can derail a season. I've seen that many, many seasons. You know, so yes, it's always a risk. But I think this one here, we spent a long time discussing this. It's not been a short conversation. We had many, many meetings over the last couple of weeks. And as we get further into the detail of that, we've seen a lot of things where we have a common view. And I think we also realise that, you know, there are challenges. I don't think there's any doubt that, you know, anyone's first time as a manager is going to have an element of risk. There'll be new challenges for them to face. But Frank's coming at this thing with a tremendous knowledge of the game. His personality speaks for itself. You only have to listen to his answer to your questions today is a good example of that. He has tremendous humility, he's extremely humble, and he has great empathy with people. And I think that's great, and if you look at his track record as well with that, he'll inspire people. And I'm convinced that will be a major factor in us going forward. You
know, I know you love it when I throw this stat at you about how many managers have come and gone in your reign, but look, he is the 7th manager here in 3 years.
Sure.
Not all that's your fault. Gary Rowett left, obviously, but
yep.
The one thing a new manager will want to know is that he's going to be given time. Yep. Can you give him and the people listening that guarantee?
We've had that conversation, and the answer is yes. You know, quite simply, if you look at last season, it wasn't always clear sailing. We had one of the worst starts for a long, long time. All right, we had a real flatlining coming the February-March period of time. There was never any pressure on the manager. You know, we thought Gary would be here this season. That wasn't to be. But we're here now, and I think, you know, we understand the fact that there are blips, there will be problems, and there'll be challenges that come along. And we've got to be patient with that, and so are the fans too. But that doesn't mean we can't be ambitious.
You just very candidly said, look, the finances we've got to be realistic about. Do you fear that Gary Rowett might come in and raid his old squad, and can you keep hold of Matej Vidra, who was top scorer in this division last season?
Well, I think obviously in terms of, I don't know what Gary's plans are over at Stoke, but we will face those challenges if and when they arise. But I think our existing squad will be extremely enthused and inspired by this appointment. And I think that'll be a major factor in those sort of discussions.
Frank, it's almost certain that your new players are watching this now, live on Sky Sports News. What's your message to them?
Well, listen, as I mentioned before, I'm fresh out of the game, so I want to get on their level straight away. And I feel like from my career, the one thing, and I will harp back to it, and I'll probably bore you with it if you keep interviewing me through the year, is that the work ethic that I want from the players. And that's not to scare them, that's just to improve us. And it's the basis. And from what I saw of the squad last year, they had that anyway. So of course there will be twists or change. I need to bring my influence and style to the club, but there's nothing to fear here. I'll be very open. I'll demand hard work. I'm with them, and I want to bring success as a group. Those are conversations I will have. I'm looking forward to having them with them personally.
Did you have other offers, maybe even at a higher level than Derby?
No, I didn't. At a higher level than Derby for sure. I've had other conversations. I wouldn't go as far to say offers, but this is the first concrete conversations that went over a period of time where we got into the nitty-gritty of both sides, and thankfully interested both of us. So this is the outstanding offer, and hence why I'm here.
What happened with this Ipswich? We knew you were interviewed for that job. Did you?
Yeah, it was preliminary conversations to say the least. And listen, I think when you're, you know, a new manager, obviously I think people are aware that I'm there. You know, I've done my coaching badges. I've said that out loud. I'm flattered to have had interest from anyone, but as I say, this really is the one I would focus on because I'm here and because the conversations got past, you know, first base, and they've been great. And I love the openness of what we're going into. I think it's the only way that we both know where we're going. I want to promote youth here. I want to freshen. I want a balance to the squad. I mean, the club speaks for itself. This place is huge. I was here last night on the pitch. Night time, lights were on, and it was almost more of a sensation than being full. It was, you could feel it, and I got a great feeling from that. So I can't wait for the season to start.
You said you've seen the squad quite a bit and you've seen them play. You think they're fighters. Do you think you'll have to make a lot of changes? Do you want to make a lot of changes?
Well, I certainly won't change the fighting spirit, and I think to say they're fighters probably takes away from the ability we've got in this squad. So it would be wrong for me to sit here now at this stage and say these are the changes I want to make. It has to be a different process to that. It'll be a process of really evaluating the squad, looking at where we need to be, and then also working with them. And that's always going to be an ongoing process. So I won't say it'll be subtle, but it's certainly not. I'm not coming in here to fix something that's broken. It's not broken. I want to improve it, and I'll make those changes as I see them.
We saw you at the playoff final, the League Two playoff final. Is that the sort of level you're looking at, or is you across the board? I mean, is that the financial reality maybe at the minute that League Two, League One is perhaps where you're going to do some of your fishing?
I don't know. I'm going to the World Cup for a bit, so it doesn't mean I'm going to sign Lionel Messi. So, you know, I'm a football man. I look across the board. We'll take those decisions. No, you know, we'd love to sign Lionel Messi, but reality says no. Other than that, we'll sign to improve the team. So it doesn't matter where they're coming from.
But from what Mel said and what you've said, the budget isn't going to be perhaps the top in the Championship compared with the clubs that have the parachute payments still. So it's going to come down to your coaching, isn't it? You've got to have faith in your own ability to make the players better. Yeah,
and let's not get too negative about this because I think it's a budget. It's a strong one. So I think let's give credit to Mel and the club of what we've got here. We shouldn't be critical of that, and it would be amiss for me to sort of lend on that as in an excuse going in. It's not. We have stuff to work for here. The test for us is to get the balance of the squad, and then the test for me and my staff and for the players is to show on the pitch. That will be the end rule really, and that will be the thing that will define us as a team and as a squad this year.
What about your backroom staff? Yet to be decided, I understand.
Yeah, and it's very close to being decided. It's just a case of where I wouldn't speak ahead of the game when things are not completely concluded. I know what it is, and it'll be like-minded people to myself with the same vision, and they'll be important here because I sit here, but I rely on them massively because everyone who comes in my backroom staff will bring their own strengths in their own departments, and we'll be a team. We'll win as a team and lose as a team, and I'm excited to have them. So it'll become very clear very, very soon.
My last question, Frank, if that's all right. You may have noticed that somebody called John Terry became a free agent yesterday.
I did notice that. I hadn't spoken to John. I got a message this morning, and I don't know what your question is. You just it's more of a statement.
It's a pretty clear one. Is he coming here?
Well, at the moment I think he's in Greece or somewhere, so on holiday. So he's certainly not coming here. So listen, there are conversations ongoing across the board, and that isn't one of them. Is what I'm saying. These conversations start now. And of course, John Terry's had a great career. We'll concentrate on what we want to do here. So there's certainly not an answer for you now.
Well done. Good luck.
Thanks.